of coffee or whatever your favorite drink is. And, they say you're looking at listings. Well, wear your name badge that shows who you work for. And if you don't have one, I want to encourage you to get one. Wear it. I know this is kind of hokey, and you're in California. You guys are cool. But you know what? It works because you're approachable when you have a badge on. So they can say, oh, how's the market doing? We say, well, that's interesting. What price range? Well, we're in the $300,000 to $400,000 price range. All right. Well, in that price range, we've got about 4 months of inventory, which means it's a kind of a balanced market. It's a good time to sell, and it's a good time to buy. Are you thinking about buying or selling a home? Well, people will ask you about the market when you give a specific answer, then rather than saying, oh, it's really great, or it's really, it's fantastic. If you give a detailed answer, that says that you're knowledgeable about the market. You also want to know your conversion rates. And we talked about this before. Once you start working with a client, how many of them will convert? Now, when you look at your leads, we know the same thing is true. There's different conversion rates for different lead sources. If you get 1% to 2% off the web, you're doing really well. If you're getting 3% to 4% from the web, this is awesome. Open houses, I found I could convert probably about 30% to 40% of the people that wandered into my open houses. That may not be your forte. Maybe door knocking is, or maybe calling on expired listings. I believe a good expired listing agent can convert at a 20% to 40% rate. So again, it's like, where are your leads coming from? Where are you converting? It may be nice that I can convert from open house. You want to look at what's going on in your particular your production, your location, your area of specialty. Also, once you have a buyer lead, how many of them actually purchase and close? And then the same thing with listings. How many of them turn into signed listings? And then what percentage of them turn into closed transactions? So you want to be tracking these numbers. So if I know that if I take 20 listings, I'm going to close 16 of them. Okay, one of the ways I can increase my my income is by getting 18 of those closed by pricing them better, being stronger on asking for price reductions, or stronger in my negotiation skills. So again, you're looking for opportunities to raise your conversion ratios. But that's a whole webinar in and of itself. Secret number 10 is to set your goals for each week. The key question is, what must I do this week to stay on target to hit my goals? So if I didn't get any closed transactions, or if I didn't get any new listings or new buyers last week, to stay on track, I'm going to probably need to get 4 to stay on track for my goals, 4 or 5 this week. So the question is, how can I go about doing that? And again, it's just a matter in many cases of being out there and showing people that you're engaged in real estate. Wear your name badge. When you go somewhere that's a public place, sit by yourself. Have that tablet out there where you can look through the listings with your name badge. Very likely to have people come and approach you about what's happening on the in terms of the market. Now, okay, we're down to the end of the secrets just about. You want to create your daily task list. Remember, do your 3 big rocks. What lead generation activities will you engage in? So again, your job description is to generate leads. Number 2, to convert leads. And then my friend Nancy Sanborn, who's kind of the probate queen up in LA, her number 1 goal every day that she puts on the top of her list is to list or sell a house today. And I think that's a great goal to begin with every day. I want to list or sell a house today. So, and again, you do this by saying, who's closest to the money, who's most likely to transact with the people that are in my pipeline. And if I don't have someone who's likely to transact, I need to get out and prospect. So once in a while, one of the things that you're going to bump into, and we all get this, is we have demands on our time, competing demands. When this happens, I want you, if you have a problem in an escrow and it means missing a listing appointment, if that problem with that escrow needs to be dealt with now, you deal with it. Because that money is in your pipeline, is closest to the money. So your clients under contract have your top priority. Your listing appointments and lead generation time should be treated with the same level of commitment. Most agents will drop almost anything to go on a listing appointment, but if they miss their lead generation time, they'll go, well, I'll get to it tomorrow. You want to get that time in. By the way, the best time to prospect is between 10 and 2. I think you get about 60 to 70% better results during that time. So if you're going to door knock or you're going to call, best time to be prospecting is between 10 to 2. It's also probably not a bad time to maybe hang out at Starbucks, because what's happened is the parents, who are taking care of the kids, those that are staying at home with the kids, if they are, then they are most likely to be home at those times because they've got the kids off at school. Kids get out, they're going to drive them in the afternoon to soccer, ballet, whatever they have them doing. But that's the time that they have for themselves. So there's a good chance they'll be out exercising middle of the day. They're more likely to pop up at places like Starbucks during the middle of the day. It's a good time if you're going to use that strategy to be there. Also, so the priority is in clients that are under contract, listing appointments are lead gen, and then buyers are the third priority. So I don't dump a client, I don't think, what I don't want to do is to ignore an escrow problem to take buyers out. That escrow problem is the top priority because that's pipeline money. So I want to focus a little bit about mindset, because this is something that blocks people from achieving their goals. There are 4 dangerous beliefs that can affect your mindset. One of them is, I know that. The second one is, that won't work in my market. I hear that one all the time. My business is different. I don't have time to take time off. Well, the thing that we know is that we're all in the same business of generating leads, converting leads, and closing transactions. And what works in most markets works in your market. Now, in terms of your business planning, Brian Tracy wrote this wonderful book called Eat That Frog. And what the book is about is you want to find the biggest, ugliest task of the day, the thing that you really don't want to do, and you do that first. That's your frog for the day. So whatever that frog is, you eat that first, do that first, and that's what that's the first thing. Also, you want to reframe complaints. So if you have somebody who comes up to you and just starts saying, oh, so this, I can't believe it, my brother-in-law did this, and they're just doing this full-blown whine. When they start complaining, what to say to them is very simple. Tell me one thing that's going right. Oh, nothing's going right. Well, excuse me, let's see. Your car got you here. Seems that you're standing. The heat's on, the lights are on, there's water, there's food. You seem to have all your teeth. You could start going through some pretty simple things. But when you ask people who are complainers what's going right, it stops them dead in their tracks. Because the research on this, these people pull you down. They are toxic, and they actually can affect you physiologically and change how fast you walk, how well you cope, and how well your brain functions. Stay away from them. Now, one of my favorite sayings comes from Buckminster Fuller, and it's environment is stronger than will. Did you know that if your best friend becomes obese, that there's a 54% chance that you will become obese? The key thing here is to surround yourself with happy, positive people, because when you have that kind of environment, it supports you to be happy and positive. If you're around people who are whine, who are negative, they are pulling you down. Get away from them. Now, if they're family members, ask them what's going right, but, walk away from the whine. You don't have to deal with it. The key thing is to surround yourself with people who are successful and happy, because you're going to be successful and happy. And what the law of attraction says, when you're successful and happy, then you're going to attract happy, successful people. So our 3 key points from today: complete the production profile and update it every 90 to 120 days. Focus on your top 50% most productive activities, and create a written business plan that schedules your personal time off as your highest priority. Remember, keep that positive mindset. So Melissa, I'm going to turn it over to you for some Q&A.
Great. Well, since we had few little glitches with the technology, I didn't really have the opportunity to say that this is really, really a unique opportunity to have Bernice on the line with us and have such direct access to her. She told me before the webinar that she just renewed her California broker's license for the 8th time. So she comes to us, as you can see in this presentation, with a wealth of experience, and you can read her articles on Inman as well. So I've got a few questions, and for those of you that are on the line, now is a good time to write in your questions, and I will pass them on to Bernice. One question is, how often do you recommend the working on sessions?
At least once a month, if you can do it, that's good. And just take kind of a mini one each week. Each week I look at my calendar, see what I really need to accomplish this week, and that's just a great way to approach this. But you want to be working on once a month. So sometimes with all the stuff that happens at the first of the month, that's not always the best time. Maybe you decide to do it on the 15th of the month, but get in the habit of doing it. And I know a lot of people, especially a lot of the top producers, they'll do like a getaway for an entire morning or maybe a day, one quarter, or once every 6 months, but they're actually taking time away where they go somewhere either for a weekend or whatever, but they sit with what they want to do for the next quarter or for the next 6 months for their business.
Great, great. Thank you. For those of you that are asking about specific slides, remember that the handout goes through every single slide and all of Bernice's points, and I will send you all a link to the video afterwards so that you can slow it down and watch those components again. Another question, Bernice, is with regard to the niches that you went over on the production analysis page. You showed us numbers. 24%, I think, was one of her smaller niches. 36% was homes between 500, 630. What percentage do you believe would characterize a niche?
That really depends upon you. What you're looking for is some sort of pattern in your own activity. So maybe you don't see a price range pattern, or maybe you don't see a location pattern. And let me give you an example. So say that my niche was serving seniors that were age 55 and older. Well, then they may be going into multiple areas, but that's my niche. And we see that sometimes with people who do distressed properties, they're in multiple areas. So what you're looking for is whatever your pattern is, and you're not going to know until you do the exercise. And it's just all over the charts. I can't say.
Okay.
So there's not a tried and true percentage, but what you're looking for is where you're getting the most business. So you're looking for things that are generating, ideally you're looking for your top 50% of your activities. So I might have one at 20, one at 16, 10, 8, 5, 4. Well, I want to get those two top ones, whatever they are.
Great, great. Okay, two more questions since we're starting to wrap up. When you were talking about pairing up, there were a few people that chimed in and said, that's really a challenge for me because I work alone and I don't have any other agents to support me. Any thoughts on that? Any feedback on that?
Well, there are several different things that you can do. I love Max Pickman's idea of, I assume that most of, those of you in Melissa's office, hopefully there's someone in your office that you could work with, and maybe even if it's just once a month or twice a month where you guys trade off. But Max Pickman suggested getting one of those prepaid telephones, and this is a separate number that you use on your signs. So when that phone goes off, that is somebody calling from one of your listings. They're sitting in front of the property. So you can do one of two things. You can have that phone with you all the time, or if you're really going to take the full time off, hand the phone off to the person who's covering for you to take those incoming calls. So, if you're going to be, say you're going to be out of the country, that's one of the ways to do it. Another way to do it is really important that a live person answers the phone. The conversion rates drop way down if it's answered with the menu services or with a recording. So you can have a virtual assistant. They've got services now that will pick up the phone for you, and they're not terribly expensive. These are real estate-based services, and I can't remember for the life of me. I've seen a bunch of them, but there's some people that are really specializing in doing this, and it's just. Again, if they've got live chat online, they've got some people who will just answer the phone, take the message for you, and then they can notify you. So you can do this with a virtual assistant, you can do it with the service, but the idea is you're only getting the messages that you need to get, and then you're free to to concentrate on that time off for you.
So you're filtering. Another version of Max Pickman's could be that you could get a Google Voice number, and so that you can enter Google and then forward that to somebody else's phone number on your downtime. So that would probably work in just the same way, right?
Yeah, the thing I love about I think you need to do both because the Google Voice lets you forward, and that's a great reminder. Thank you, Melissa. And then the other one, but the thing I liked about having the hotline is that I know that that's a live buyer sitting in front of one of my properties. Yes,
Right.
and if I'm on a listing appointment, I show the sellers my this is my hotline phone. If this rings during our appointment, I am going to take the call if that's all right with you, because it's somebody sitting in front of one of my listings, and I would do the same for you. And that right there is enough to close them in many cases.
Great.
Oh wow, you mean
Yeah. Great point. That is a great point. Great idea. And then I think we'll just wrap up with one more question, which obviously there are many, many great tools out there, and they're only as good as the users and how much we utilize them. But do you have any favorites that you would recommend as far as technology, CRMs, things that you're seeing people talk about that have maybe a lot of people talking about them right now, a lot of hype. People seem to really like them. Any thoughts on that as we're looking for new things to adopt for 2015?
Well, one of my because you're in California and they are now and they've just cut a deal with ZipLogics. The platform for the digital signing platform that I really love, the DocuSign is great, but it takes about 40 minutes, from what I understand, to complete a purchase contract in California using it. There's a new company called NuOffer, NuOffer.com, and you can fill out your offer in about 3 minutes. And it's a very cool system. That's something, they have ZipLogics is the CR provider along with DocuSign. So, look for something to be happening on that front. You might want to look into it. But the agent who started it was an LA agent, and when he showed it to, he showed it to another broker who was managing a different company from the one he was working for, and the guy went over to his desk, got his checkbook, and wrote him a check for $2,500 and says, "Get this product developed." He liked it so well. The things that I would say that you really need to be using, Evernote. These are old standbys. Evernote. I want all my docs on Evernote, so that I can load them in from my computer, but I want my Evernote file connected to my tablet and to my phone. So if I'm out and about and I have to go on a listing appointment, I can have all my listing documentation on my phone right there through Evernote. So that's one of the best ways to do that. Also, it's a great way when you go on a listing appointment, you can keep all the information for a particular street together. You can create a file that way, or you can create a subdivision file, however you want to organize things, or price range file. But the great thing about Evernote, it is searchable, and again, it works across platforms. So if I put something in my phone, I know if I get back to my iPad or to my laptop, it is going to be on all three of those devices, and I never have to think about duplicating it. CRMs, I went to a session. I've been to 3 sessions on this in the last 3 months, and it keeps coming back to, like it or not, top producer. So what's old is new. Other things, those are, the CRMs are what you asked about. There's there's always some cool new whiz bangs. One of them is Mverso. That's M as in Mary, Verso. I just happen to think of that. And what they do is they actually they have what they call a shortcut code that people can enter, and it will download all the listing information, videos, everything that you've put into that particular file. But the moment they download it, you get notified that as a text message, and you can get right back to it. You get it as a phone call or a text message, and it's easier than using the other systems that are out there. The other one, best tool out there to convert right now from Open House is Open Home Pro. I would really, if you're doing open houses, it requires a tablet computer, but this one is worth this. It's worth its weight in gold, because when people come in, you have all the information loaded about the open house, the video and everything. Hand it to you, would you please sign in? Well, when you hand somebody an iPad, it's to please sign in, and the Open Home Pro, this little app that's on my iPad will send you the information to your phone. or to your tablet, whatever you want to send, or to your email, you can choose. But then what it does is it sends a thank you for attending the open house to them automatically. It has some marketing added. It's got some things you can send out to market with. And if you have a price reduction, it will automatically notify everybody who has signed up through your open house of that price reduction. You don't have to do it manually. Of course, nobody ever does. So this thing is just really great. And again, these are real basic tools, but they're the ones I see people they keep coming back to. Inverso is kind of, a new one. There's always something new and interesting, but the bottom line is the old stuff, a lot of the old technology is still the best choice, and you need to be focusing there first. This is whatever.
What? Did we lose Bernice again? Are you there?
Hope not.
No, yeah, you're there.
Yes.
Maybe that's a cue that we should wrap up. Thank you so much for your time today. So those 4 tools that Bernice mentioned were Top Producer, New Offer, actually 5, Evernote, Mverso, and Open Home Pro. I think before we lose you again, Bernice, that would be our cue to shut down. Your time is so valuable, and we really, really appreciate having you on the line with us today. So for those of you that are still on the line, thank you. I guess maybe I did lose Bernice, but I will be sending out a link to the handout if you never got that, and also to the video to watch within the next 24 hours. So keep an eye out for that. And if you do have any questions about anything, feel free to email me at info@melissazavala.com, and I will get back to you with more details. Thank you.